Wow. And good morning, world. Good morning. Before we begin our introductions, as we usually do every weekend, we want to make sure that we tag folks. And so bear with us as we tag some of our friends that support the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast. Mm, I think and Jamar, you've done your tags, right? Or you're doing them
Just
now?
doing them now.
Okay. All right. That is all I'm attempting this morning. The more I tag, the more time we'll be like, all right. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that for the tags. Uh, all right. So everybody can see my background. All right. So hello. Good morning, people. Welcome to the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast. Thank you for tuning in with us this morning as we conversate about the latest sports topics that has taken place from this past week and will be upcoming this coming week. As a reminder that every week we always like to begin our podcast by reminding our audience that the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast can be found on Facebook via the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast, on Spotify, it's the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast, YouTube, Apple Podcasts as the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast, as well as our own Facebook pages via Brandon Price and Jamar Goodman, amongst other streaming platforms such as Apple Podcasts, in which someone actually Jamar this week added us on for the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast. So that was kind of cool. I ran into them at the gym and we got to talking about the podcast. And they like, oh, I have Apple Podcasts, and they pulled it up, and our podcast just popped right up, and I'm like, beautiful. So that was awesome. Today is June 12th, 2021. We have yet again seen an interesting week in the sports world. Well, we have seen Jamar, the Utah Jazz, put the Clippers into an 0-2 hole again. And Kawhi Leonard responded back stating, we still got a lot of fight in us. You better. The Philadelphia 76ers respond, and Joel Embiid put up dominant numbers. The Phoenix Suns looking like a legit threat to win the Western Conference, and pretty much putting the Denver Nuggets on ice at this point, up with a 3-0 series lead. As stated, Jamar, I told you, man, there was some about that. The Phoenix and Lakers winner, one of them was going to have pretty much a decent time probably to run through the West. Alongside some divisive commentary as viewed by many within Scottie Pippen being the author of this new book entitled Unguarded, but he does an a tell all. Good morning, Dwayne. Good morning, brother. Alongside Stephen A. Smith hitting us with another blasphemous comment, stating that Donovan Mitchell is the greatest player ever to put on a Jazz uniform. And so, with that being said, introducing my brother from another mother, Mr. Jamar Goodman. Good morning, sir. How are you?
Man, I'm doing excellent. Excellent. How are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great as well. I'm all right, man. Only thing is I didn't have the best experience at the barbershop yesterday.
Uh-oh.
So, it's not funny. But other than that, it's Saturday morning, right? And so that's great.
There you go. It's the weekend.
It's the weekend exactly, and it's 91. And so, all right, well, let's get our conversation started this morning. So the Milwaukee Bucks, they bounced back in a very ugly win, very defensive minded, focused win in this series, at least in this game. And they bounced back in this series and got a decisive Game 3 victory over the Brooklyn Nets by defending very hard and being very physical. My favorite moment was when PJ Tucker got in the face of Kevin Durant. And Kevin Durant just looked so soft when he got in his face, man. I was expecting Kevin Durant to be like with it, but obviously PJ Tucker looked like he pushed him around. But more importantly, were you impressed with this Bucks team performance? And can they keep this going in a 7-game series and not just in one game?
Let's see. Was I impressed? No. That game was ugly, and just to piggyback what you said about Kevin Durant and that little scuffle, or whatever you want to call it. You notice Kevin Durant's bodyguard came on the court. His bodyguard.
Really?
Yeah, that was his bodyguard.
Wow, really?
Yeah, he
got
from
a
the front row.
bodyguard?
Yep, that's Kevin Durant for you.
Oh man, he is such a diva.
I mean, we know who he is, though. That's the most important thing. So, I mean, didn't this game have a feel like a 90s score type game, 86 to 83?
Absolutely.
Man, so for that game, I actually took the under. I actually put money on the under as far as the point score. I didn't think it was gonna be that low, but I mean, I was glad to see it for my own sake. But no, this game was ugly. Apparently my camera just went off again, so I'll fix that in a second. But I mean, like Kevin Durant shot bad, Joe Harris shot bad, Kyrie Irving, like I don't think he hit a shot in the last 5 minutes of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Only Giannis and Chris Middleton was really relevant for the Bucks. That's to shoot bad like that again. We don't expect that. That was
right.
So, and it took all of that just for Milwaukee to escape. And it's like Milwaukee came out strong, but for whatever reason, they stopped doing what they was doing well in the first quarter, and it just unraveled. And my boy Giannis out here, like, making it harder than it has to be. Like, they baited him into shooting those shots that he shouldn't have taken, and Jrue Holiday didn't really, show up until like the last 10 seconds of the game with that layup. Just if Milwaukee think this is their recipe to win, you got another thing coming. Like, if that's the case, Brooklyn is gonna blow them out game 4, and we're gonna be done in 5. That's
Well, yeah, man, Brooklyn just missed so many shots, right? I mean, can we really expect Brooklyn to miss all those shots, all those open layups? They didn't look like the normal Brooklyn Nets team. But obviously, being on the road, being up against a great team like Milwaukee, at least on the defensive end, obviously makes for, a tough game. And so one thing I was impressed with Milwaukee is how hard they played. They came out with a chip on their shoulder. The highlight of the game for me, Jamar, was when what's your boy the brother got in the game and he blocked the shot and he got the crowd going. And another moment was when PJ Tucker got in the face of Kevin Durant. So they were clearly sending a message to Brooklyn that this is our home court. We're not going to be soft. You had the fans outside, literally outside the stadium. Sort of gave you that Toronto feel for the playoffs. You know how in Toronto they always have the fans outside. So Milwaukee was ready. And guess what? Jamar got news. I believe they're going to be ready game 4. And I believe in game 4, they're going to hit their shots. And it's going to take another championship effort from Brooklyn to win game 4. We mentioned that this would be a very competitive series and that it could go 6-7. I think the series can go 6. But I see Milwaukee actually putting up a really good fight, bro. Game 4, setting the tone early because they know they got to hit shots. They know damn well if they don't hit shots against Brooklyn, they will get blown out. And they could get blown out as early as the first quarter. As soon as the game begins, that's how good Brooklyn is. That's how great they is. That's how lethal they is offensively. But they defended, man. They got dirty. Old school basketball, playoff basketball, intense basketball. It was great to watch. My heart was pumping every moment of that second half. And, you know, it just reminded me in a way, Jamar, of that old Bulls team with the Joakim Noahs and the Taj Gibsons and the Derrick Roses, not with the haircut, but with the dreads, you know, the 2015 teams, the 2014 teams that, you know, they sent messages. They weren't soft. And that's what Milwaukee reminded me of. They reminded me of a good Central Division, tough, hard basketball team that's in the playoffs. And so I was very proud to see that. We'll see what happens games 4. That is tonight, brother. That is tonight. And we'll see what goes down with that contest. Big implications because if Brooklyn win game 4, you are right. They are done in Brooklyn on game 5 because they look unbeatable up in New York. They look unbeatable. So good series thus far, at least, you know, good game 3. They bounced back hard from a whooping in game 2. It was embarrassing. That was a national embarrassment, bro. Like, no, you don't come out as a professional team in the playoffs and lay an egg like that. And so I'm happy that they came out with some pride, and Giannis, he showed up in more than just his business suit. He came to take care of business on the basketball court and not just in his business suit. And so that was dope for me to see. Can Milwaukee keep it up? We will see. Jamar got Milwaukee getting probably whooped in game 4. I think that Milwaukee can bounce back and keep this up and that they will hit shots in game 4 and pull out a classic. At least that's what I'm hoping for. If not, then bye-bye Brooklyn. Bye-bye Milwaukee. You're just another Central team that always makes the playoffs and never do nothing after you make the playoffs. And that's it. And my tale for Giannis will be he's a great regular season player, Jamar. He just don't get it done in the playoffs. And I won't have no expectations of him going for it at all.
I can't disagree with you. Until further notice, that's what it will be.
Yep, exactly. So, all right. Speaking of, let's talk about another series. The Phoenix Suns have put their print on the Denver Nuggets, bro. They are up 3-0 now. And Chris Paul, the floor general, 27 last night, 29 game 2. He's balling out, man. Something that got into him, and Devin Booker doesn't even have to score the way he can. You see my point, Jamar? He don't have to score the way he can.
Right.
Because Chris Paul is, you know, providing that spark. And so just your thoughts from this Phoenix and Denver series, because I thought Denver would at least put up a fight.
I mean, see, it got me thinking, And the first round series with the Blazers, like what was like hidden that we probably forgot about is the fact that Denver don't play defense. They really don't.
Right.
And so they're going against a physical team that can play both ends of the floor, that is well coached, that is disciplined, that has, I'm not gonna say championship DNA, but has the tools to have championship DNA on their team.
Right.
And so, like Chris Paul is living his best life out here, and I'm loving it. Like you said, 27 points last night, 8 assists, 3 steals, 9 of 16 from the field. Devin Booker, 28 points. I mean, Ayton only scored 10, but he had a double-double with 15 boards. You got contributions from Jay Crowder with 14, Mikal Bridges with 11, Cameron Payne with 9. So, I mean, they are getting contributions from their role guys, even on the road.
Right.
Defense and physicality is like, I feel like it's beating up the Nuggets overall. Jokic is the only one that's actually really doing something for the Nuggets these days. His support system that he had in the round one is nowhere to be found. Like, where's Austin Rivers at?
Where is Austin Rivers? Where is Aaron Gordon? I mean, I wasn't expecting him to do much offensively, but I at least expected him to defend. He didn't even defend it.
Nope, not at all. -9. Austin Rivers is a -18. Like these was the guys that like, and Michael Porter Jr. Like,
that's another one. Thought he's supposed to have been this prolific scorer.
And he's still young-minded, but it's like still it's like the guys that I mentioned was the main reasons why they got past Portland.
Right.
And
I read they call Michael Porter Kyle Kuzma 2.0. That ain't a good thing. He's more talented offensively.
Yeah. I'm not gonna disrespect Michael Porter Jr. like that.
I'm not, but he gotta show me some in the big moments. If people are raving about him the way they do, every time he score a basket on TNT, they always talk about, oh yeah, if he do this, he do that. Yeah, if that's a big if. It's the same as Kyle Kuzma. I know Kyle Kuzma's up. I know it's a heck of a comparison because Kyle Kuzma is a pure bomb.
I can't. I'm not gonna disrespect MPJ like that. Not right now. But
yeah, put that ball in the hoop.
Yeah. Nevertheless, like, I mean, Jokic out here with a monster triple double, but it's like it's almost meaningless. Like, where's your help? But I think this is more so about Phoenix and how, we like we mentioned, the winner of that Lakers Sun series, I mean, can definitely make a real run here. But I think overall, even though with Phoenix being a 2 seed, it's like I don't think they've really gotten the respect they deserve.
Yeah, and they don't because they obviously played a hurt Lakers team, and now they're playing a hurt. Well, you can say a hurt Nuggets team because they don't have Jamal Murray. If Jamal Murray plays this series, right? If Jamal Murray plays in the playoffs, they probably be in my pick for the West.
Maybe. I mean, rightfully
Real
so.
talk.
At the same time, like if that's the case, like if with them being battered, then Blazers should have took them out, and they didn't. So I'm actually, we got to look at them as somewhat formidable, especially since they got the league MVP. But I mean, at the end of the day, it's like, Phoenix is no pushover. Phoenix has the tools to get out the Western Conference. I mean, and if they do, I mean, we'll see what happens in the finals. But until then, I mean, you can't sleep on Phoenix. You can't do it. I feel like at this point, they finish them off. Sweet. That's how I feel.
Yeah. Joker, you better go out gun swinging just like Giannis did the other day. Go out gun swinging like Kawhi did against Dallas, like LeBron has did for most of his career outside of this Lakers series. Just go out gun swinging, man. Like they coach Mike Malone said, we do not want to get swept. And so I'm not sure if he's conceded the series, but He definitely does not want to get swept. And so that would be a stain on Denver if they get swept. They got to put up some type of fight here. Some type of fight here. I know this is a better team than they've shown. And so I'm hoping that Denver just give us some type of series, man, some type of fight, something, to at least make the series semi-competitive. I was hoping at least for a 6-game series. Now it's looking like I'm going to get a 4 or maybe a 5-game series, but maybe a 4-game series because these games have not been close.
No,
they have not been close. They've been blowouts. So that is something that is very, very alarming, especially if you're a Denver Nuggets fan. But it's very promising too, because if Michael Porter Jr. hits shots and you got Jamal Murray back, then Denver is a very dangerous team. So, all right, let's talk about that Philadelphia and Atlanta Hawks series, man. Philadelphia is looking like they're back, right? I mean, they are, back in full effect. They are defending. They are, hitting shots, and looking like the team that we thought they could be. This team that we thought could challenge Brooklyn, right, for the East.
Mm-hmm.
And so Joel Embiid has played. It's a decisive game 4 coming up. Ever since Jamar, I would say the end of the first half of game 1, Philly has looked like Philly, right? They've pretty much put my boy Trae Young on ice. And you look at Joel Embiid standing next to Trae Young on a free throw line, and you just say, okay, who's going to win this series? So Philly right now have bounced back in this series and looking like if they can take game 4 that, they can end this in Philly in 5 games. So just your thoughts on this series thus far. Because I expected like a dog fight in the ATL last night, just because I think it's a raucous crowd down there in Atlanta too.
Well, I mean, before the series started, me and you picked Atlanta, and that was more so if Embiid didn't play.
Right.
I didn't expect Embiid to play, and the fact that he's not only he's playing, but he's looking like Embiid, like
dominating
the MVP candidate.
Well, the MVP that really should have been MVP.
Yeah, the best player game by game this whole season.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, with that, and you're right, and also the fact that you're also right about ever since the first half of game 1, like Philly woke up was like, nah, we're not going out like this. They got punched in the mouth early. And towards the end, basically in game 1, like Atlanta basically tried to handle the game over. It was they didn't know how to finish it.
Right.
I mean, this is where coaching is taking place. Players are playing. Doc Rivers pushing the right buttons. And I guess the beautiful thing about this Philly team compared to last year, like they have shooters, right? They have shooters and guys that can also defend. And so, unfortunately, Danny Green got hurt, but you got Steph Curry, you got what's that, Thibault, you got Maxey. I mean,
Danny Green hasn't even hit a 3-pointer this. Like he hasn't hit a 3-pointer, I think, all playoffs.
Just like Ian said, he ain't hit a 3 since the 2014 finals, man. That's what it feels
true.
like.
He hit 3s with the Lakers last year, but like he has not been Danny Green. But that's still another guy that I think can, I'd rather have him there missing than not, right? Yeah. Because he defends and he could get hot. I think as the playoffs go on, I think he will get better, especially when it matters. So that's a good insurance coverage to have just in case this or that happens or occurs,
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's like when Embiid is playing at his level and you get the contributions from Tobias Harris like you should, dropping 20 plus a game, and then Ben Simmons is just free flowing with the offense and controlling the pace and just doing everything that he does well. Team is hard to stop. And it goes back to what you said. It looks like the team that could probably come out the East, the team that you liked at the beginning of the year. So if they continue playing their game, then this series is over in 5. Because if Atlanta doesn't win tomorrow, is that tomorrow?
Yep, tomorrow.
Yeah, if they don't win tomorrow, there's just curtains. We're done. We're done here.
Yeah, so big game 4 coming up in Atlanta on Sunday afternoon. So we'll see what the Hawks do and how they respond. Very important for them to try to make this a series. We'll see. All right. And lastly, that Utah and Clippers series. So Pandemic P is not he's not panicking again. And I'm sure Tyronn Lue is not panicking again. And Kawhi Leonard has made it public that we still have a lot of fight in us. And so the series is heading back to the Staples Center. And so do you expect the Clippers to make a fight of this series and get back in this series while they're in LA?
Absolutely. So this team has proven that they can come back down 0-2. The coach that they have has proven in the past that he can come back down 0-2 multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what it comes down to is, can they stop that brother on the other side, the guy that's over my right shoulder here? I mean, this man has
best shooting guard in the
NBA.
If he ain't number 1, he number 2.
Maybe. It's like, here's my thing, my biggest issue with the Clippers. You're supposed to be these perimeter, like elite two-way players, but first round, Luka just go bananas and you can't do nothing with him. You just happen to just outgun him.
Right.
And now you're going against Donovan Mitchell, who's living his best life against your team, who is just doing the most. Like Donovan Mitchell, I mean, we knew he was the X factor, for the Jazz, for their ceiling right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like going against between the Grizzlies series and now, it's like he's doing a lot more now than what he did against the Grizzlies. And once again, you are supposed to be these elite two-way defenders. And every time I look up, Paul George is getting cooked one way or another. So like Kawhi, are you gonna take the bull by the horns like you eventually did against Luka towards the end of that series and catapulted your team to the next round? I mean, Kawhi, you're supposed to be top 5 players, supposed to be, you're a 2-time
top 5 in the world, right? And
2-time
finals MVP.
I mean, you got old Canada title and everything else. So can you lift this quote unquote curse from the Clippers and actually get to their first ever conference finals in their entire history? Can you do that? I think it's possible, but you got to come to play. Right.
And for me, game 2 was decisive, man. It was so decisive for the Clippers. They didn't want to lose that game. They didn't. You walk away feeling good, I guess, as the Clippers because of the fact that you lost by 5 in a, hard to play place in Utah. Can the Clippers pull out 3 straight here, Jamar? No, I don't think so. I do think they gained back home court tonight. But, the problem here is the fact that not only are the Clippers, and it's sad to say, I don't believe they're cursed. It's just sad to see that they won't make the conference finals again. And they always just seem to come up short in the second round, And that really sucks here, man. I love to see them in the conference finals. That'd be primetime TV because it'd be like, finally, that's been lifted. But that hasn't happened. Paul George and Kawhi, they claim that they are elite defenders, but they get locked up, they get cooked. And I just think, Jamar, nobody in the NBA can stick Donovan Mitchell. I don't care who it is. maybe one person can stick him, and that might be a Giannis trailing him. That might be somebody bigger that can be, almost as fast as him, that can get those long arms up and block his shot. But even upon that, he is so crafty with the rock, bro. He can go one way, spin around you, go another way, and then pull up on you. And then he can break down your defense. He's like a Dwayne Wade 3.0, because 2.0 is better than Dwayne Wade for me. I think he's better than Dwayne Wade at this point in his career, Jamar. Am I crazy for saying that? Maybe so. But I feel like this dude, Donovan Mitchell, he needs to be brought up with the Luka Doncic's of the world. He needs to be brought up with the elite guys in the NBA, because this dude is a baller. He came straight out on the Clippers game 2, sending a clear-cut message. Game 1, the same thing. And he's going to do the same thing in LA too. I can confidently say that, and I know that for a fact. He's going to show out in LA too. That doesn't mean that they're going to sweep the Clippers, but I believe, bro, that they will win game 4. They will get at least one of these games, which I think the Clippers will get game 3, and then the Jazz will bounce back game 4. Could this be a 6-game series? Maybe. They have vets. The Clippers are a veteran team. But this Utah team, bro, they defend so well. Just like you mentioned with Phoenix. That's one thing they both do well. They defend so well. And shout out to the O'Neals and the Rudy Goberts of the world. Those guys, they present problems on the defensive end. They really do. And so, I'm not saying that, it's guaranteed to happen. But, Jamar, I look forward to a conference finals of offensive showcases. And I look forward to Devin Booker and Donovan Mitchell sometime this week, starting game 1 of the Western Conference Finals.
I'll say this much. I'm going to need Kawhi Leonard's game 6 of last series for the rest of the series. That's what I mean. I'm going to need Kawhi Leonard.
That's what it's going to take. That's what it's going to take. But guess what? This ain't Luka Doncic and choking Kristaps Porzingis. Donovan Mitchell got help. That's the difference here.
Yeah.
That's the difference there. He got some guys that can get some buckets too. And so that makes it very, very scary. And this is even without Mike Conley. Once Mike Conley comes back, the defense will pick up even harder. So, all right. Because remember, Mike Conley, that's a Memphis Grizzly right there. They train defenders in Memphis. So
straight out the grind.
So I'm telling you, man. So right now, if I'm the Clippers, I know they relax, but hey, I expect them to have a good fight tonight, game 3, win the game by 5 or 10 points. But game 4, all eyes will be on that. So, all right. Any final thoughts before I get into this comment by Stephen A. Smith?
No, let's get right in. I'm ready for that one.
All right. So, our man Stephen A. Smith, he stated yesterday morning, and I couldn't believe I woke up to that blasphemous comment. He stated that Donovan Mitchell is the greatest Jazz player to ever put on that Utah Jazz uniform. So, do you agree with that or do you disagree?
So, I kind of get where he's coming from, but the way he said it is just off. So,
right.
No. He's not the greatest. Of course not. That's between Stockton and Malone. That's by far.
Yeah. Right.
And there's a lot of reasons why: longevity, the actually, consistency, accomplishments, et cetera, et cetera. Now, Donovan Mitchell, if you ask me if he's the greatest talent to put on a uniform, then I will agree. The greatest talent.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't have the accomplishments, the resume.
Exactly. That's my point. He don't have the MVPs.
Not yet. Now, he's on the trajectory to get there. He's off to a great start for his career, but they done it for a long time. We talking about like 19, 18, 20 years in the game type thing.
Yeah.
Took the league by storm with the pick and roll.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, greatest talent. I give you that by far. The greatest Jazz player? No. Nope.
Right. And I'm with you, man. I stand in total agreement. Donovan Mitchell is the greatest talent to ever put on the Utah Jazz uniform. But even amongst talent, you can argue that Karl Malone and John Stockton were very talented, extremely talented. I've never seen a point guard with John Stockton's skills, and I've never seen somebody shoot the rock as pretty as Karl Malone. Man, you talking about like Butter Baby? It was like Butter Baby back in the 90s and even the 80s too. They were like this Clippers team. They would always make the second round, Jamar, and get bounced out. Even made the conference finals a number of times. You know, lost, here and there until they got to 97 and 98, made the finals 2 times in a row. Karl Malone, MVP seasons, right? Jordan, he was pissed off, remember in 98 that Karl Malone got that MVP, and he showed the Jazz up in that 98 season. But the Bulls knew, man, that that, Utah team, they were a great threat, serious threat. And if it didn't take the heroics of an all-time great like Jordan, Utah could have clearly beat the Bulls, especially in 98, because they came back harder in 98 than they did in 97, remember? And so, if that shot didn't go in game 6, we talking to game 7 in Chicago, and who knows what could have happened. And so, great teams, man. Karl Malone, when he got the rock, bro, you just moved out the way. He reminded me of a LeBron prior to LeBron. Big, strong, can score the ball just all day, all night. But then he had the Sharif Abdul-Rahim game to him too. It was just all butter, man. He was a great power forward. And so for me, Donovan Mitchell don't have those MVPs. He has not been to the finals yet. And he doesn't have scoring titles and things of that nature. He needs to get more accolades in order to be the greatest Jazz player ever. Great talent, and probably arguably the greatest talent to put on the Jazz uniform. But he got more work to do in order for us on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast to go and state that he is the greatest Jazz player ever. That's blasphemous, people. And
he has a great opportunity this year to add to that. He has a great opportunity. So let's see what happens. But yeah, greatest talent, I give you that. Greatest Jazz player, nope, not doing it.
If he win the NBA Finals and get MVP, then what do you think?
I mean, at that point, I'm still not gonna say he's the greatest Jazz player, but that might escalate.
He'd be on the right. He'd be on the Mount Rushmore.
Oh yeah, for the Jazz, yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I think it like accelerate the timeline of him being the greatest Jazz player because they never won. So if he wins, all he has to do at that point is to continue to be great for a few more years, and then you can really have a serious conversation.
Absolutely. I'm with you, brother. I'm with you. Yes. And speaking of the great Bulls teams who played those Jazz teams in the 90s, Scottie Pippen and Michael Jordan, they are going through a little saga right now, right? And so this book called Unguarded is going to come out actually, Jamar, in November of this year. But in the book, he states, like, as example, he cringed at the idea of being Jordan's sidekick. Additionally, that there's no Bulls dynasty without himself. I agree with that. He goes on to state that he definitely deserved more respect from the Bulls management and media. I can agree with that, especially after learning what I learned, Jamar, during the Last Dance and what Jerry Krause put him through, which was just foul. And then lastly, he talks about what it was like being the real leader in the Bulls locker room on a daily basis. And so just curious, my brother, do you agree with Pippen's comments here, or is he?
Actually, I want your take first on this one.
Okay. So there are some things I agree with, right? Mm-hmm. There's no dynasty without Scottie Pippen, I feel like if Jordan is by himself, he's a prolific scorer. I think we win probably 2 titles, Jamar, but I don't know if we win 6, bro. We maybe win 3. He probably go get a sidekick or something, and the Bulls probably get 3 or 4 maybe. if he get another sack kick outside of Pippen, maybe, because the Bulls management probably would have been like, hey, we got this prolific scorer. He's putting us right there. We just got to get somebody who can be a sidekick, So the Bulls could have did that, but they built it all through the drive. They built it all organically. And so that was phenomenal to see. There's no dynasty without Pippen. There's no dynasty without his defense. There's no dynasty without his toughness, his scoring, and what he brought to the table for an all-time great team. However, when he states that he cringed at the idea of being Jordan's sidekick, I can see that. I mean, like, if you got somebody as great as Jordan, right, Jamar, and everybody want to be like Mike, right? Everybody's buying Nick Jordan. Everybody's coming to interview Michael Jordan. He's getting the ball at the last moments of the game. You are a great player, an all-time great player as well. You will cringe, and that will probably go through any human being that's probably being a sidekick when they know that they can do this or do that. So I understand that part. But, when you talk about being the real leader in the Bulls locker room on a daily basis, the real leader in the Bulls locker room for me definitely was Jordan. And you can argue Phil Jackson. But as far as Pippen, I think where he's coming from with this, Jamar, is we know about Jordan's personality, right? We know about Jordan being the alpha. We know about Jordan being a major trash talker. Very unsympathetic Michael Jordan. Always been that way until recently, until people started saying, hey, give your money to this and give your money to that. Stop being selfish. But, Jordan is a very blunt person, as you can see. But I think when he states the real leader in the locker room, he's talking about from an emotional standpoint, from a maturity standpoint. Now, Jordan, not saying he wasn't mature, but Pippen was mature to be able to do what he needed to do for the team. So he have to be that brother, right, that'll kind of swallow a pill, whereas Jordan be like, I ain't swallowing a goddamn thing. It is what it is, Craig Hodges. It is what it is, Forrest Grant. It is what it is. Who was the other guy he beat up in practice? Randy Brown. Like,
Steve Kerr.
These are, this is me, and I'm not changing for no damn body. I'm Michael Jordan. I'm the alpha. So I think Pippen stating he was the real leader in the locker room to state after Jordan had his antics, then Pippen would be right there to put his shoulder behind Jordan, to put his shoulder behind the team to be like, hey, guys, what Jordan is trying to say here or what the team is trying to say here and bring that all together. And so I could see, Pippen being the real leader in the locker room, or at least, stating what he meant by that. But I think at the end of the day, the real leader in the locker room simply was Jordan because he set the tone. He set the tone. That was simple as that. Now, in regards to the Bulls management and even the media, the media is going to be the media, Jamar, right? They're going to be riding the coattail of what's hot, period. As far as the management, Jerry Krause, I mean, what he did and, what Reinsdorf did to Pippen and what we learned through the Last Dance with this foul, having a man be there all them great years and literally not pay him anything he was worth. It was outright foul. But it was Jordan that kept him there and kept him there to, make that run because he was ready to leave at one point. He could have went to another team and finally got that money. But, after Jordan left, he did leave and went to Houston and got that big check. But he should have got that check way prior to. And even, we forget, Jamar, that after Pippen left, he had some good runs with the Portland Trailblazers 2 years in a row in the conference finals. You lose game 7 to Kobe and Shaq, who went on to win that championship and throw that epic dunk down where Kobe threw that alley hoop to Shaq and tore the house down in LA. Got upset in Houston where they lost to the Utah Jazz. Remember? In game 7 off a game-winning three-pointer. So, Scottie Pippen had some great teams. His defense translated wherever he went. Shows it. Great NBA player, one of the greatest all time. But when he states the real leader in the locker room, that kind of throws me off, bro. And just the management and all those things for doing them wrong. But I definitely agree. There is no dynasty without himself. Why Pippen states this at this time, Jamar, it's simply because it's a book. So don't you get overreacted here. This is a book. It's a tell-all book. It's business. It's what the people want to see. He knows that this is going to make him some money. It's going to, be all over the sports world and people are going to talk about it. And so he wants this reaction. That's why he wrote the book the way he wrote it. Is he being completely honest about everything? Maybe, maybe not. But I just understand, bro, that sometimes this is a business and a book is a book, and that's that.
Okay. All right, so like you, there's some parts I can understand, and then there's a few parts here that I'm just like, dude, if you don't shut up. So, all right, of course, without Scotty, yeah, they don't have the dynasty. I get that. I do. Scotty was a big contribution to my childhood, to the Chicago mantra in the 90s. It was everything for me growing up.
Yes,
Having
sir.
Bulls attire or apparel or anything like that, I felt like the best thing in the world to me as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so Pippen got there in 87, drafted by the Sonics, traded for Polynese, Olden Polynese, I think, whatever. So
out of Central Arkansas.
Yep. All right, so let's see. Now, based on these comments, it seemed like Pippen, I guess feels a certain type of way, feels like he should get more respect than he deserves, feels like, hey, I'm the man here too, type thing, like I'm me. I get that, but here's the thing that stands out for me, and this is more so of an emotional thing instead of a logical thing. What's happening here. Number one, last time I checked, when Jordan was going through the growing pains until he got to the finals, when they had a golden opportunity, they got bounced out. I think what was that, game 7 against Detroit, where
Detroit, I knew you was in there. He was hurt, man. He was hurt. If he wasn't hurt,
care but here's the thing, Jordan had to make that man tougher to begin with. He had to. Jordan was already the best player in the league by the time Scotty got there. He saw potential in Scotty. Scotty just didn't show up when it counted most, so he had to build him up and with the rest of the team. That's number one. Number two, you mentioned, as far as that contract here. Now, I'm pretty sure he's probably still butthurt about that contract that he was given. And yeah, maybe the Bulls lowballed him at the time. But on the flip side,
they did.
Yeah. On the flip side, though, you have to know your worth. And what agent did you have that allowed you to sign off on that agreement to begin with? Yeah, they offered it to you, but you signed it. So you got to take responsibility for that. Yeah, you was butthurt over the years. I mean, you signed the deal. Nobody told you to sign it. You didn't have to sign it. Did your agent tell you to sign it? I mean, apparently it was some type of agreement between you and the agent to sign the deal. So that's on you, buddy. And so
yeah, who knows, man? Especially in the 80s, those guys weren't as educated. He got a white agent, I'm sure. He's just literally trying to get a bonus, that agent, and probably sign him for a low amount. He probably got a big piece of that pie.
Yep. You're probably right.
Oh, real talk.
Yeah. And so, I mean, that's at the end of the day, that's still on you. I get it, but still on you. You probably just emotional from that. And then, of course, Jordan had the Jordans. I mean, Pippen had his shoes. His shoes was nice. They just didn't sell as much as Jordan. Maybe he felt butthurt on that one too. But here's the real kicker.
That's what it was. It's a sidekick, so he ain't gonna get as many sales.
Literally a sidekick. But
Yep.
here's the real kicker for me, the side kicker for me. So he talking about him being the real leader of the locker room, this and that. So I feel like there's been a couple of times in Pippen's career to where he had the chance to be the man and then get it done. Mind you, when Jordan was playing baseball, I'm pretty sure, like, let me see, Phil Jackson asked this man to go in the game and do something, and he refused. Tony Kukoc hitting the game-winning shot type thing. You supposed to be the real leader of the locker room.
This was the last dance. It's true. Learn this in the last dance.
So how you the real leader of the locker room? You can't even go out there and do what you're supposed to do. There's more than one way to lead, and leading by example is one of them, and you definitely didn't do that.
Right.
That's for starters. Two, I mean, you didn't reach the NBA Finals. I mean, I get it. You probably got cheated by the Knicks and the referees, maybe not. But I'm saying, but
that game 7 in '94, they did get cheated. They supposed to won that game. They supposed to win to the finals.
Fair enough. But you also made a point for me too. After he left and went to Houston, like, how do you get bounced out in the first round with that team? How do you do it? The following year, how are you up 19 points in game 7 and lose? Lose in the fourth quarter. How you up 19 points in the fourth quarter and lose?
Right.
Like, so.
Yep, lost to San Antonio, right?
Well, I thought it was when in Utah the first time?
That was in Houston.
Yeah,
that was in
that's
Houston.
What I'm saying. When they went to Houston, they had the number 1 seed, right? And they lost.
Number 1 seed. They lost. They lost. Lost first round to they lost first round to the Denver Nuggets, I believe, with Dikembe Mutombo.
So got that one.
And then you go to San Antonio. They lose to San Antonio. Remember Avery Johnson wide open in the corner? Mario Ellie wide open in the corner. That was a conference finals, bro. Remember that short season when the Knicks and the Spurs played. Then that following year, you had the Blazers in the conference finals again in game 7. And
up
they
19
lose
against the Lakers and lost.
Yeah.
So yeah, just overall, this has, like, sell books and stuff, but this is more emotional, not rational. Scotty, go sit down somewhere, man. Like, I didn't even like get into your personal life here, which I know you still butthurt about what's going on with that. So this like, dude, like, I get it. You are an important factor. You are part of my childhood. I love you, Scotty, but sit down and shut up.
Yeah, Scotty trying to get some headlines there. Yeah, man, his wife cheated with Future, right? And I think they're divorced now. Right, everywhere pretty much. I mean,
so Malik Beasley from the Timberwolves as well. It's a number of things. Yes. Like,
wow.
Yeah, so apparently Malik had a family, left her for her, and then she ended up like leaving him afterwards. Now he's trying to get his wife and family back.
Oh, geez. Wow.
Yeah, she everywhere.
This is inside information. I never knew this happened with Malik Beasley. He barely in the NBA now, poor boy. Probably because he was messing with her, who is strictly friends with the Kardashians and friends with what's some other groupies? The ones that dated the Barnes brothers. Oh, they're all sisters, and they dated Matt Barnes. And then she ended up leaving Matt Barnes, and Matt Barnes now butthurt because she went on a Derek Fisher somebody. And so, like, yeah, light skin, nice booty, and everything, guys. So, poor guys, man. And Scotty just, he definitely butthurt about a lot of things. And so I'm reading that book because not only I want to find out about this, Jamar, and I'm not going to read it. I'm an audio book. I'm going to listen to it, right? And so I'm going to get it on Kindle or something, or get it on something like Audible, audio book, that baby, listen to it. And I also want to hear about the relationship things too. I want to hear about all this stuff. And so Scottie Pippen, it's a business. I'm sure he probably talked to Jordan behind closed doors. I know he did. Just as he did after the last dance. He's doing what Jordan did. That's it, Jamar. He's replicating what Jordan did, and they talk to each other behind closed doors and be like, "Hey, this is a business purpose."
Maybe so. So Deshaun in the comments saying, not a maybe, they lowballed him big time, and Larsa Pippen out here, bro. She out there.
Yeah.
She for the streets, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, they definitely lowballed Pippen big time. To the absolute core, he was lowballed, Deshaun. And he, is still hurt about that contract. I'm even still a little upset about the contract after I learned about it in The Last Dance, because I definitely thought he was a lot more worth than what he was receiving. I'm just thankful that he stayed, because if he didn't stay and Jordan retired, then the Bulls would have begun their 1999 campaign early. And so that would have been bad, because I don't know if you remember that 1999 campaign with Freddie Hoiberg and, going about 13 to 69, and it was terrible. So, it was great that Pippen stayed, because, we had some type of relevance while Jordan was playing for the White Sox. So, yeah, Deshaun, make sure you hit that like button, bro. And thank you for,
she's a runner. She's a track star.
Talking. Thank you for tuning in with us and talking about this whole situation, because Larsa Pippen, she's definitely a track star, man. She get good laps in, and so wow, I never knew that whole situation about Malik Beasley. Wow, that mean in that case she's still out there then.
Oh
yeah, man.
Wonder who our next target is.
Right, exactly. That's it. Who's the next target? And guys, they just go for it, man. And you guys, come on, man. These are fake boobs, fake butt. All that's plastic. Like, don't you want something real? Like, but I mean, I don't know.
It's probably more complicated than what we think. Who knows?
Yeah, like I guess you're in California and stuff like that, and you see that stuff. I guess it's like this. So, all right, man. Let's move on to talk about some NFL. Your boy Julio Jones is now in Tennessee, and he has went to the Titans, and now they look like a Titan football team with a Titan running back, a Titan wide receiver core, and pretty much Titan defense. Team is tough. Is this a good pickup for this team, Jamar? It's only one football. And where does this Titan team rank now as your favorite to win the Lombardi Trophy?
All right, so is this a good pickup? Absolutely, this is a good pickup. This is a great pick. This is an outstanding pickup.
It's an outstanding pickup.
Outstanding pickup. So, all right, so check this out. So AJ Brown wanted this man. Derrick Henry, who works out with Julio Jones, wanted this man.
Okay, and that's right. They both Bama guys.
Yep. He wanted Tennessee. They got the deal done. Corey Davis is a Jet. They had a big hole for another wide receiver spot. So AJ Brown teamed up with his idol. He looks up to Julio. That's the reason why he has the number 11 jersey number. He tried to give him the jersey number. He ain't want it. Like, this is phenomenal. So basically what it comes down to is Mike Vrabel. Now, if he can coach this team properly, this team is going to be a hard team to defeat. And I know, defensive side of the ball, they had issues. I think they quietly addressed that during the draft and stuff like that. I think
it's a very underrated defense. I mean, they ain't the prettiest defense. They get it done though.
They do.
I don't ever see them getting blown out. I don't ever see them getting mauled or nothing like that. I don't ever see them at
They're well coached. That's what they are. With the talent they have, or lack of talent, whatever you want to call it, they're well coached. So they won't give up deep plays and stuff like that. Now, here's the argument that I've heard, and you just mentioned it, but it's only one ball though. Tell that to the Tampa Bay freaking Buccaneers, who got all those weapons, and yet they just paraded right to the Lombardi Trophy, and you got Tom Brady throwing it out in the ocean to to Gronk. That's what
Right.
happening when you got one ball and all those weapons. So Derrick Henry will still be Derrick Henry. This opens up the play action a lot more for Ryan Tannehill. Tannehill's actually been he's been playing like a great quarterback in that system since he came over. So I mean, I feel like they definitely are the clear-cut favorites in the AFC South. Some other people and Colts fans probably disagree with me on that one, but I mean, looky here, you're both of your teams was pretty much even last year. I know you had, Phillip Rivers, and you get Carson Wentz now. Yeah, I don't know how much of an upgrade. I mean, the ceiling is a little higher, but I feel like the ceiling just went a lot higher for the Tennessee Titans. And then your final point, or your final question rather, what do they rank to win the title? So right now, I'm contemplating between 6 and 7 overall. This includes both conferences.
Okay.
So the 5 teams that I have in front of the definitive leaf, well, 4 for sure, 5, 6. So Tampa, Chiefs, Buffalo, Rams. I got those 4 for sure. And then that's when you start.
The Rams are Matthew Stafford.
Look, I don't have time for your nonsense this morning.
Oh, please, Jamar. It's
I don't have
Saturday
time
morning.
for your nonsense
why
right
would
now.
you do this? Why would you bring up Matthew Stafford?
Matter of fact, I'm going to do you a favor. We're going to spend a whole day talking about the Rams. We're going to spend a whole day talking about the Rams.
I do not want to. We can talk about the Rams. We ain't talking about Matthew Stafford.
You are something else. All right, so I got those 4.
Oh, my goodness. Matthew Stafford and the Rams. Number 4, they should be number 32.
You're so disrespectful. So disrespectful. Look at how Chris Paul looking at you behind you. Looking at you he's just looking at you like, bro, what are you talking about? Like, you so disrespectful. You so disrespectful. Aiden looked disgusted at you. Booker not even paying attention to you. You so disrespectful.
Man, no, look at how Donovan Mitchell looking at you in the background. Like, are you serious, Shamar? Are you serious? Like, you gonna sit there and talk about Matthew Stafford? Are you serious?
You talking about
see this?
like, let's go.
Look at how Donovan Mitchell is looking at you. What you talking about Matthew Stafford and the Los Angeles Rams?
Well, first off, I didn't bring up Matthew Stafford. I brought up the Rams as a whole. I brought the Rams as a whole. You brought up Matthew Stafford.
It better be the Rams because Matthew Stafford ain't winning no damn Super Bowl. It's going to be Aaron Donald. And it's going to be our boy that's at cornerback locking things up. And it's going to be a rejuvenated Leonard Floyd and a great receiving core with the Cups of the world. But it ain't finna be Matthew Stafford. Y'all better watch out. It's going to be pick 6 machine.
And we'll have more discussions about that in the future. Anyway, so I got those 4 teams. So, like I said, I got Titans 6 and 7. So I am contemplating putting Seattle in that bunch. I'm contemplating putting the Browns in that bunch, and I'm also contemplating on whatever team Aaron Rodgers plays for if he decides to play this year. So Titans within that top 10 mix, closer to 5, but 6, 7, somewhere around there. That's where I got Tennessee right now.
Okay. No, they're better than if you ask me, bro. It is some great teams, and man, Cleveland is a very interesting one that you put at 5 or 6. But I gotta drop the Rams just because of Matthew Stafford. If this might sound crazy, world, it might sound crazy. But I think the Kansas City Chiefs are beatable, Jamar. And I'm here to put this out on the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast that the Super Bowl for 2022, Jamar, will be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Tennessee Titans. And this all depends, of course, on the health of the Tennessee Titans. Because the one knock I worry about, and it's 2 knocks with the Titans, maybe even 3. Sometimes the questionable calling or the coaching of Mike Vrabel. Number 2, the health of Julio Jones, who has not been the most healthy in Atlanta as of late. Can he sustain his health? That's vitally important for Tennessee. But Jamar, even without his health, Tennessee is so good without Julio. They've always been a great team because they got Derrick Henry, okay? And they got a great A.J. Brown. So the team's going to win 10 games, I think, even without a Julio Jones. You put him in the mix, you got them, Cleveland, and Kansas City vying for the top spot in the AFC now. Whoever gets it, it all depends on, I think, a coin flip, which it'll likely be Kansas City because of the greatness of Patrick Mahomes. So these three teams will be vying for the AFC for sure. When it comes to Tennessee, however, the one thing that I also worry about, this third thing, can Ryan Tannehill, because I don't easily forget about Miami. He has not been the greatest quarterback as of in Miami, and sometimes in Tennessee he has made some questionable decisions. Okay, he has not played the greatest football, right? And so if he plays like a stud, Jamar, they get home field in the AFC, which of course is big in the AFC. Do they win the Super Bowl? I don't think so. But I believe this team can make the Super Bowl. It just all depends on momentum and playoff stuff and blah, blah, blah. But I think this team can make the Super Bowl, bro. And I think that they will or could end up playing Tampa Bay, and we can begin to see this new super team mantra in the NFL that is now being adopted in the NFL that they took from the NBA.
All right, so wait. So I'm
I mean, what? This sounds blasphemous. Or I think it's very legit.
I mean, it's possible. So, all right, so you got Kansas City, that's, I guess, quote unquote beatable, I guess. So you got Tennessee over Buffalo?
Yes. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm. I think they're better than Buffalo.
All right.
I think Buffalo is a fourth seed this year.
Okay, so who do you have third seed? I forget.
Cleveland.
Okay.
I see Kansas City, Tennessee, but Cleveland being a vital threat too because they got OBJ coming back. The AFC world is going to be lit. These top four teams, and then you put in now 3 wild card teams. AFC playoffs, man, gonna be some big boy football. Let's not forget about Lamar Jackson and them boys in Baltimore either.
Okay. And our good friend Anthony, he said he heard something about Aaron Rodgers possibly going to Tennessee. I mean, that'd be curtains. If he goes to Tennessee,
yeah,
that's game. Just pack up and go home.
Yeah. Right. I mean, that's a lot to deal with. Because there's no absolute weakness at that point. There's nothing like
not on offense. So I mean, you'll instantly health, pending Tennessee and Kansas City and AFC Championship game book it at that point. That's exactly what you see.
That'd be great to see.
Yeah. State Farm game that we never got the chance to see in the Super Bowl.
Exactly. We were looking forward to last year, right? And Deshaun, he stated, "Don't upset Bills Mafia this early, Mr. Price." I'm trying not to, Deshaun. I just think the Bills, they are great, but I just think the AFC is loaded this year, bro. I really do. I think that it is a loaded conference. You got Tennessee, you got Kansas City, you got Buffalo, you got Cleveland, you got Baltimore, you got Pittsburgh. And let's not forget about the greatness of Pittsburgh. They are always around in the playoff team. The AFC, man, I mean, in Indianapolis. Oh, geez, Indianapolis. So
I'm about to upset some Colts fans. Write them off.
Write the Colts off. Okay. I mean,
they can get to the playoffs, but that's it. They won and done.
Yeah, but I mean, that's 7 playoff teams I just named right there. And I don't really know about anybody else, but I know those 7 teams legitimately can fill the AFC playoff slot. And that's an open playoff right there.
Whew. I think Bills Mafia might come get you, man.
Yeah, they could come get me, but I mean, They got some great competition this year, man. It's some good teams.
Whoo-wee. I mean, I really love the move of Julio Jones. I don't think I'm definitely not as like all in as you are on him, but I love the move though. I definitely.
Because like Anthony just stated, that coach defense is stout, Jamar. You know it being an Indiana guy. Like the coach defense is stout and they travel.
Yeah, I know. I'm just poking fun at them.
Yeah, it ain't no way in hell I don't think they make the playoffs. Not with that defense.
I know.
And with that running game too.
Oh, yeah.
And now you got Carson Wentz. He's not as Phillip Rivers is great, but I don't know, man. It all depends on the turnovers for this guy Carson Wentz. If he don't turn the ball over, that's another scary team you don't want to see in January.
Can you play a full 17? That's another thing. Can you stay upright?
Right. If he stays healthy, then yeah, they're a dangerous team, bro.
Yeah, you can do something. If he can't, if he's not there in January, you're still in his cap. Like, go home. That's it.
Right. Have to rely on Jacoby Brissett.
No, he's not even there anymore. I don't even know who they back up.
He left. Okay. He left. Okay. I'm sitting there thinking in my head like he probably left. But if he left, then yeah, it's not a good situation. But if he is healthy, Jamar, if he is healthy, he won't have to do as much in Indy now because he got a great defense. He got a really good running game. I like those two backs. They can ball. That's a nice 1-2 punch in Indy. It's a nice 1-2 punch.
Probably got the second best tandem in the league.
I'm telling you, right? Like outside of Cleveland, for real. Yep. Those two guys can ball. So the AFC, man, I think that's a competitive division.
Yeah, no, AFC is stacked, man. It is. Yeah. It is. You got probably 10 legitimate teams that's fighting for 7 spots going into the next season.
Right.
Because New England gonna have something to say.
New England gonna have something to say. I think the Raiders, they are like always that 8-8 team, but they can beat you on any given Sunday. So
matter of fact, speaking of which, so I made a bet the other day with a guy that I know that's like a big time Raiders fan. And
I see where you headed here. We were just talking about him.
It's 2 bets here. Because I told him, because I'm high on the Chargers this year, and that's another team.
Yeah, that's another spot. Yeah.
I told him I bet that the Chargers will end up with a better record than the Raiders, and I feel like they will. I feel like they will.
That's possible, right? But this is another thing, Anthony and Jamar, and everyone that's tuning in. What if A-Rod ends up in Vegas? Because I don't think he's going to Green Bay this year. Maybe he'll just hold out, but it looks like, bro, he's still trying to get that trade.
I'm not the biggest fan of that. If he goes there, like, the ceiling for that team isn't that high yet. If he has a better chance, if he ends up in Denver, then that's a whole different story. But Raiders, I don't see it like really raising the needle too much, or moving the needle rather.
Because right now I'm hearing that Deshaun Watson wants in Denver. I don't know if you heard that. It was on the headlines this week.
One of his teammates, but I feel like Deshaun Watson would just want anywhere at this point.
Yeah, so
I don't see the Raiders moving the needle as much personally for me.
Right. So yeah, man, this is very interesting. I think we just kind of came up with this morning, but I'm very interested now in the AFC, and in regards to your picks and your rankings, I can see everything from your rankings. I don't necessarily know if Buffalo is better. I think Tennessee is stronger now. But it'll be very, very interesting to just watch these teams on the field, because if I put these two teams on the field right now, I know I'm getting a ball game. I'm getting a fourth quarter game. I'm getting a physical game. I'm getting a game that can go any way, because although Buffalo's great, they got a Titan, the ultimate Titan, and he can win a game himself, literally by himself. Julio Jones, and AJ Brown can win games by themselves. So the Destination Fantasy Podcast got a lot to talk about. And so it'll be very, very interesting to see how things turn out. Destination Fantasy Podcast, by the way, guys, Sunday morning, 7 a.m. Central Standard Time, by your boy Deshaun Reed Jr. and Mr. Jamar Goodman. And so be looking forward to that tomorrow morning.
Daddy. Appreciate that.
All right. Yep. And so let's lastly finish, bro, not talking about the White Sox today, but the Cubs and their hot streak, tied for first place in the NL Central. Daddy. Just any quick final thoughts on the Cubs, and anything you want to say about this team, who is Chris Ford, who pointed out that would be in first place and he feel that could win a division.
I mean, I guess they're handling business. I mean, I didn't even know they was on the hot streak like that. Like, I knew they was playing well, but I didn't know they was like that right now. So kudos to the North Side. I guess it makes up for the ugly alternative jerseys they got. So I mean, it's cool.
Oh, they are terrible, ain't they? And by the way, I bought my White Sox shirt. I bought my Southside shirt.
You did?
Yeah, I bought a shirt though, not a jersey. Jersey was too expensive.
But still, yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, went on Fanatics, man, and about $35.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna be rocking that, man. And those are good shirts too. They're really good shirts. Last White Sox shirt I have is a real good shirt, so I'm excited about that. But other than that, bro, kudos to the Cubs. Kudos to the White Sox, who are in first place as well. And they are a half game out of being the best team in the MLB with the best record. So things are definitely bright on the South Side as well. Continue to take care of the Detroit Tigers and the Kansas City Royals, White Sox, and take care of that division. And you guys could, end up being home field or having home field. And so, yes, with that being said, any final thoughts to anything as we head into the weekend, bro?
No, I guess just the usual. Enjoy the weather, be safe, enjoy this good NBA action that we got that's going to lead until July. This is an anomaly. NBA schedule going to get bounced back to normal next season from October to June. So it's going to be a quick turnaround. Matter of fact, the NBA season might lead us right into the NFL, so in the Olympics. So enjoy these summer sports.
Yep, absolutely. The Olympics is coming. The Euro Cup is just started, in which my wife is very excited because her French team is very good. We'll see how they handle the rest of the European teams in preparation, right, for the World Cup next summer. The Olympics definitely about to start very, very soon. Shout out to the American gymnastics team. I wanted to send you the picture, Anthony. And I sent it to you, Jamar. I sent it to you, Deshaun. It is an all-Black cast of young ladies that are representing America for gymnastics. So it's a beautiful thing. And they'll be tough to beat with Simone Biles. Very tough. So she's been dominating. And I think sometimes people need to start mentioning her as a GOAT, as the girl dominates. And so, yes. It's 91 today, or 92 where I'm at. And so stay warm, get you some water in your system and play it cool if you can, because, we've been blessed with some warm weather. And so other than that, also put the guns down, enjoy some great playoff basketball today. Shout out to the Cubs and shout out to the White Sox and just that in general. And shout out to Justin Fields, who has received that contract, bro, which now solidifies him, I believe, as the starting quarterback. I don't believe he will be on the bench. I think, bro, he goes in immediately and he is a starter. And so that'll be very exciting. And if you ever, Jamar, want to get a Bears game going, let me know. I got a plug on tickets.
Bet. We'll discuss. We will discuss.
Yes, sir. I just got the Giants tickets. So yes. All right. I appreciate that. And so thank you everybody for tuning in. Have a blessed day. Have a great weekend. Peace out, stay safe, stay cool, and thank you all for tuning in this weekend to the Early Morning Sports Talk podcast. Peace.
Peace out.